One of the best things about a Mustang is making it unique, making it your own. So when we picked up our 2024 Mustang, we promptly added some billet specialty wheels. Then we got a custom wrap to make it look different than our 2018. Then we hit up Anderson Composites for their carbon fiber hood and their rear deck lid. Not only do they look good, but it saves weight. Now, naturally, we got some lights from Form. These are smoked lights, but they're completely customizable. You could change the lighting sequence, the welcoming sequence, the color of the turn signals. So, adding a set of these will help make your Mustang stand out from the rest. Starting underneath, there are 7mm bolts that need to be removed from the rear valence. The bolts on the bumper itself are different, so make sure not to mix those up. At the rear of the subframe, you should have a bracket with a few more 7mm bolts. We have zip ties, so we'll have to cut them off. In the middle of the splash shield, there are 2 plastic push pins that can be removed. A 10mm bolt holds the rest of it up, so be prepared for all the rocks and debris to fall out when you remove it. Behind each rear wheel is a push pin and 2 more 7mm bolts that need to be removed. If you have a drag pack, we highly recommend lifting the rear of the car off the ground for more clearance. The lower bolt is in this pocket and the second one is right above it. Remove these. The lower bolt is longer, so make sure not to mix them up with the others. Behind the fender liner, there's 2 more 7mm bolts. There is 1 bolt securing the bumper where it meets the rear fender. Remove all 3 bolts. This is where a 28-inch tall tire has its disadvantages. Back underneath, 2 push pins are holding the lower valence to a bracket. On the side near the rear wheels, pull outwards away from the car to unclip the bumper. Once both sides are off, pull straight back to unclip the area by the trunk. There is 1 connector on the bumper that needs to be unplugged. The trunk floor can now be taken out. There are 2 hand nuts on either side that secure the trunk trim in place. Remove these. Pull the trim away from the studs, then pull up on the entire piece to remove it from the trunk. A trim tool can help remove the clip on either side of the trunk carpeting, which can now be pulled back for better access. Below the taillight is a bumper support that uses 3 8mm bolts. Remove all 3 and carefully lower the piece as to not damage the wiring. You should have 3 studs with a 10mm nut on them. Our vehicle was missing this nut, but we later found a replacement. The square connector is what powers the taillights. There is a tab that you will press to disconnect the harness. At this point, you can now remove the taillights. The top trim piece and a magnet on the factory light is what will need to be transferred over to your new set of taillights. Line up the clips and press down straight on the light to install it. The magnet is more of a tight fit, but it will click into place. Here is where you can now configure your lights. The blue wire controls the startup sequence. The red controls the turn signal. Connect the blue to activate the startup sequence. Disconnect it to disable it. Connect the red wire to enable the amber turn signal. Leave it disconnected for the red turn signal. You can now feed the wire through the hole and into the trunk, and you want to make sure the wiring between the grommet and housing is not pinched or sticking out. Here you can see the wiring is preventing the taillight from seating properly. Just tuck it away and the studs should now line up with the trunk. In the trunk, get the form harness connected to the factory harness. There was an included Velcro strap, so we used that to secure the loose wiring. You can now secure the taillight down with the 10mm nuts. The housing may cinch down onto the body a bit more, so try to tighten everything evenly. Now is a good time to test that everything is working properly and is correct. You will need to power the vehicle on to use the turn signal. Go ahead and reinstall the trim piece below the taillight, making sure it fits in the tabs on the taillight itself. Do not over tighten this as it is plastic. We'll repeat the process on the other side. Remove the bumper supports here. There's a plastic clip securing the piece to the body that needs to be removed. Pull it out and it is okay to just let it hang there, but make sure there's not too much tension on the wire harness. We already removed the nuts as well as disconnected the harness, so now the whole light can come out. Transfer the magnet over to the form taillight, as well as a trim piece up top, this side with the Easter egg. Route the wiring into the trunk and make sure that the grommet is seated. You can now reinstall the trim piece. Again, test both lights while the bumper is still off. Then reinstall the bumper. Make sure that all the clips are lined up and that the wiring harness is reconnected. Line up the panels around the light. Then press the plastic clips into place on the side. The 7mm bolts can go back in place. Underneath, the splash shield. And now you can reinstall the trunk trim piece. Get the push pins on both sides of the carpet. Lastly, the trunk floor. After that, your installation is now complete, and your only decision is what color turn signals do you want. Well, here we've got the finished product. Unlike the S550s, you do need to remove the rear bumper of your S650. But these are the smoked Euro lights from Form, and they look outstanding. Not only do they give you the startup sequence, the greeting sequence, you could change them from red or amber turn signals. So there's some cool stuff you can do with this, and takes roughly about an hour's worth of time, unless you got a 28-inch tall tire with about a 1/4 inch of rubber piled up back there. That took a little bit longer, so apologize to Frank and the guys. They were scraping the rubber out of the quarter panels and trying to make room to get their tools in there to remove the necessary fender liner to pull this back bumper off. But like I said, if you've got normal wheel and tire setup, you're looking at roughly about an hour. So as you can see, we opted for the smoked version on the Steeda Silver Bullet. They're also available in clear and red lenses. Now these are UV protected polycarbonate plastic, which means they're gonna last a long time. Plus, they use OEM quality LEDs. So you've got a great fit, perfect function, OEM style wire connections, and it's pretty simple. It takes you about 5 minutes to go from amber turn signals to the red turn signals. The other cool thing about these lights is they've got a greeting feature. So when you walk up and you unlock your car, it goes through this whole sequence, which is pretty cool and definitely makes it a little more unique. These lights are also DOT compliant, which means they should keep you on the right side of the law, and they feature Form's exclusive 2-year warranty. They're gonna give you years of good looks. I think they came out pretty good in the Silver Bullet. The smoke theme kind of goes with the whole wrap. This isn't just a cover overlay. This is a complete new taillight assembly. Let's face it, the back of the car is mostly what everybody's been seeing on this thing, so we want to get some attention back out there. Remember, they're available in 3 different options, and they're all available at Steeda.com. So hit like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and remember, Steeda, where speed matters.